Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Elemental Serenity Sacred Space. I go by Honeybee, and I have my friend here, Asher, Countryman, who is an intuitive somatic healer. And so I just want to set the space. My intention today is to share our collective experience from Bali Bliss Retreat so that you all know what this is about, what we're doing, all the magic that's to be had, all the hard stuff that's to be had. So in the world, I have a brand, Elemental Serenity. My boyfriend and I were talking, we're what are you? What are you? You do so many things. I'm a Jane of all trades. So in a nutshell, I'm an intuitive spiritual sound healer, but I also am a soul alignment guide. I guide you back to your soul, your purpose-driven prosperity, and all the things that make you feel alive in your body through movement, flow, frequency, sound, and just deep healing. So all that magic. So that's in elementally embodied retreats like Bali Bliss. And so Bali Bliss, my friend Selma and I hosted this retreat. It was an 8-day container. It included flow arts. There was yoga, meditation, breath work. We went on adventures all over Bali. And I just like to share and get the the feeling and the vibe from other people. And that's why I invited Asher with me here today. And so hello, welcome. Say hello, intro yourself. The floor is yours.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me to be here today and to share my experience. I was super excited and honored. I'm like, yes, absolutely, I will do that. As you mentioned earlier, my name's Asher. I'm an intuitive somatic healer. And my mission and purpose, I am just driven to see people live their version of a vibrant, happy, healthy lifestyle. And I just noticed there's so much pain and suffering, like disconnection in the world, disconnect from what are our desires, what are our passions, what are the things that we love. And we just kind of get stuck in the mundane of I go to work, I come home, I take care of the kids, I cook the dinner, and then I wake up and I do it all over again. We forget where is that sacredness? Where is that joy? What's that thing that lights you up inside? And what was that dream that you had when you were younger that you forgot about because it seemed too hard to achieve or someone told you no? It's like, how do we re-spark that and say, hey, it doesn't matter if you're 20 or 40, it's all achievable and doable. So that's what I love
I
doing.
like that. Chewable and doable. I like that
Yeah.
phrase. Thank you for sharing. I knew we had a lot in common the second I met you. I know Salma mentioned your name when you were coming on board, and we actually met in Bali. So I didn't get to fully meet and connect with you in person until we were actually in person in another country halfway across the world. So I just wanted to ask, what drew you to the experience to attend Bali Bliss? What was your draw for you personally?
Yeah, so what called me to go, there was many different layers that brought me in to want to say yes to go. I just kind of noticed from the inside and outside, I was in this place in my life where I went through so many challenges this year. And I was like, I just need a break. I need a break from all the BS that's happened this year and the grief and the loss and just feeling like my spark kind of died a little bit inside. And I just wanted to be around loving high vibe people. So when Salma said she was doing this, I'm gonna figure out how to get my shit together and be there
Mm.
because I know the people that are going are going to understand me. They're going to see me. I can be vulnerable. I can be myself and not have to show face, and I can be supported in that. And yeah, that's kind of why I came.
I love hearing that. I love
Yeah.
hearing that. Thank you for sharing. And
Mhm.
what do you think you were most excited about? Like when you saw the whole layout, what was the thing that really ignited you the most? Like, ooh, it's this class or it's this or it's just Bali. Like, what do you think really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Bali for sure, because that's been on my list for years. I'm like, I need to go to Bali. I hear all this magic about going there. Um, and then just kind of getting into that ritual of oh, we get to do yoga every day. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't been on a retreat in so long. I miss having that ritual of doing a practice. And then the playfulness, your fan class. I was like, ooh, yeah, so excited to learn how to play with fans better. And then hearing about the water temples, I was like, oh yes, water is so cleansing, it's so purifying. Sorry, my dog is freaking out.
I thought that was the echo of me going, I was like, what a delay. I was like, shoot, are we in real time or what's
Um, yeah, and I realized that water is just such a way to like purify and uplift and cleanse. And I was like, that's exactly an element that I need right now for what it is I'm processing and transitioning through. So those are the three, I guess, four things that brought me to Bali.
Mm, so resonant, girl. I think the water temple, before I even hosted Bali Bliss, I attended another retreat and water temple was on the docket. And that's kind of what drew me into. Just, here in California, I haven't been to many waterfalls yet, but when I went to Costa Rica, that was amazing for me. So just to be able to go to a temple, like a place that was designated for healing, holy water, all of that. So I'm super happy that drew you in just as much as me. Um, and what would you say was your favorite part of the whole thing?
Oh, wow. Mm, wow. Okay. My favorite part. Yeah, I think coming back to those water elements, like the water temple and get waterfall was just, man, after both of those experiences, I just felt my light body like just fully activated again. And I just felt all this heaviness just get washed away.
Mhm.
And I just got downloaded with this remembrance. I was like, wow, like it was never lost.
Right.
I just needed to remember and call in and activate like the healing powers of nature and her elements.
Mm. Woo! This is why we call it elemental serenity. I
Yeah.
was I was joking around with the tagline like, we'll take you out of your element to take you into the elements. And part of that was because people get really shooken up in places that they don't normally like, that's out of their comfort zone. So getting you out of your element, the things that you're used to, the matrix, your life, your job, all the things that you might consider mundane, or you need a little, go somewhere else. And I agree that waterfall slapped me sideways and almost took my pants off. And I was just like, this is the most powerful waterfall that I think I've ever experienced, where I
Mhm.
actually I was sitting in the water, like kind of far away, found a rock, and the intensity of the droplets that were hitting my face and the current that was like kind of shoving me sideways, even though I was trying to sit there and be all still and meditative, I was laughing out loud to myself, being like, this is not really meditative and peaceful. This is actually really powerful. And I'm laughing at myself for thinking that I was going to have a peaceful moment and send prayers to the waters, but I'm actually kind of cold and a little bit like maybe I should go more away from it because it was so strong. So it
Mhm.
cleansed all my sins all the way out of Sunday, and that was intense. So I'm so glad you shared that with
Yeah.
me. I felt the same way.
Yeah, it was so, so intense. And I was like, I can barely breathe right now. But I was like, this is the intensity that I need. Just like push it out and through and like let's go, you know?
Yes.
And then that moment where I felt too, I was like, oh, maybe I should like back off and step out a little bit. And I look over and there's like Salma and Brian and one other person, and they're like laughing and they're like hugging each other or whatever. And they were like, come here. And I was like, okay, I guess my healing's not done with the water yet. Like, here I go deeper into the water. Yeah. So that was really nice. Just like also have like that embrace with the water, the embrace with our friends. It was just like, oh, like, thank you. Thank you. Like the bliss literally came home with me back to the States.
Yay, I'm so glad. Yay.
Um,
So, even though that was a blissful moment for you, do you feel that anything might have come up for you that you needed to navigate throughout the experience? Whether, yeah, anything that you needed to navigate internally?
yeah, I think there was a couple of things that came up for me when we did our fun like twerk workshop. I was having all this like body like positivity and feeling good, like just shaking junk out of my body. And I think it was right after we were getting ready to go somewhere else. And I was like, oh, I'm going to put this outfit on. And I hadn't tried it on since spring. And then all of a sudden, this like body positivity I was feeling just like immediately was like, oh, I feel body dysmorphia or shame right now because I couldn't fit into my pants. And I was like, okay, well, that's not coincidentally timed here. And I'm like, okay, like you just like learn these beautiful, empowering practices. Okay, how do we cultivate and bring that back in while these feelings are coming up and just like allow to be in the space that I'm at and allow the emotions to process, like not hold on to them. So that was really powerful and really beautiful because I got to like immediately just have that self-love practice for myself. And then there was another moment. I was talking to someone at the retreat and we were kind of relating on something specific that had to do with like relationships and partners, and the conversation of grief kind of came up a little bit. And it was the day we were at one of the gardens, toward the second one, like the flower garden, not the water garden, the second one. Can't remember what that one was. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just gonna let go. Well, I'm so sorry. Go. He's like, please let me outside.
We both made a sound at the same time, which I thought was funny. I was like, is that me again?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So here we were relating on these topics. And I remember like that day, I just felt a little more off than I did the rest of the trip. And just kind of, the universe blessed me with this space to walk around alone and just like be in the space and be in nature and connect with the flowers and connect with the land. And then having that conversation after, man, that was like the second layer of, I guess, the final layer of this stuff that I was working through. I had this thing that I now have labeled as an energy vomit. Like that's what came up for me. So I was like, I had this cleansing, purifying from the water, had these emotions come up from the twerk workshop. So it was just kind of like this boiling up. And this thing I saw in my mind's eye as I was conversing was like a lump of coal that then began to like get lit on fire, like super hot, like lava. And it was like sitting just like in the base of my gut. And then as we were ending the conversation, like this, like someone punched me in the stomach and this thing got forced like up through and out of my mouth. And I was like, whoa, what was that? It was so vivid and it felt so real. And I just went into like this 5 minute, like bawling my eyes out uncontrollably, like so hard of a cry. But that was like officially the moment on the trip where I was like, wow, oh my gosh, like all this stuff I've been working through this year has like officially been energetically and emotionally released, and just felt so good. Like things have been on fire since we've been back. So thank you for holding that space to allow me to just feel and process and be.
Yes. Oh, that's so good to hear. What a vivid thing that you just described. I think that's really cool. I don't
Yeah.
know if you shared that with me there, but just hearing it now, this is why I love having this like moment so we can like recheck in and just hear about all that juiciness that you experienced during that. The water garden was very beautiful as well. Just walking around the koi fish and seeing everybody kind of flow around. The koi fish in Bali are so beautiful. Everything's so, I think, just intentional with the people as a culture, which allowed me to drop in also and
Mm-hmm.
to grieve or to feel anger or to feel what I'm feeling in the elements. So that's super cool that you got to experience that.
Yeah.
My next question was, do you feel you alchemized those navigations? And I feel like you did in some way by saying it was like an energetic purge. And that you came back feeling good. So that's amazing. You like answered my next question, I feel like. Um and and I feel like you've been to a retreat before, right?
Yeah.
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 And
Mhm.
for retreats, I feel like that's why they are so powerful and potent. I attended a retreat being really self-conscious probably 5 years ago in Costa Rica. And when I was there, Brian was actually my teacher leader. That's where I met him. And to just share briefly that I came in with so much body dysmorphia around all of these beautiful people from all over the world. You're talking Asheville, North Carolina, Australia, Costa Rica, San Diego, and I was from Chicago, and I just felt so in a shell of like I didn't know like what was possible in the world. And being around all these vibrant people and the energy of the retreat, I actually wish I could have had more fun, but I didn't because I was in a negative space. So it brought up a lot of stuff. And I feel like retreats can bring out a lot of energy or a lot of shadow stuff that you didn't know, because who are you in the world without your job, without the comfort, the security, the safety of what is normal to you, being exposed fully with people that you just met, like total strangers, maybe a few, some people came without knowing a single person. But even when you have friends there, like I feel like that's a shared experience. Would you agree, disagree that the retreats kind of bring that out, but in like a good way? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because you're out of your comfort zone. You're like, you're not at home, you're not in your daily routines, you're out of your routine, which can bring discomfort to people. And in that discomfort, you get to have that moment of like self-reflection of who you are and how you show up, and ooh, do I like this version of myself? Or, so it offers those moments, those insight aha moments to be like, oh wow, okay, from inner outer reflection. So that's what I feel like retreats do, and they continue to do every time I go to one. It's like I
Yeah.
get to know myself a little on a deeper level.
Mm,
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
that. We're
yeah.
retreat seekers. I also seek
I
to
know.
retreat and just like be in that and put myself in that like place or that play,
Mhm.
because I every retreat has had a different theme. I've done Wild Woman, the flow arts at Sell the Soul in Guatemala, and this one was just supposed to be Bali Bliss with Selma. But moving forward, I'll be doing couples retreats and incorporating a lot of that play with couples, but also adventurous retreats as well. So for those of you that are excited to come check out a future one, just peep the website below or my website in the link in the bio, or share a comment below what draws you to retreats. Or if you've never been to one, what would you want to experience in a retreat? What are you seeking out of that experience? So for everyone that comments, I'm going to comment back. So thank you for sharing your comments below and connecting with us in this space and being able to. And just wanted to go back to what you said. You said a version of yourself. And I totally resonate with that, because when I got back from this 7-week adventure from Bali, I feel like I'm still getting to know this new version of me. I feel like not just hosting and leading, but attending and going and then being by myself for, few weeks was kind of catapulting me into this new energy that I have, which is just a little more confidence, a little bit more direction of where I desire to go. And I
Mhm.
think that's my hope and intention with every retreat, is that you leave feeling a sense of deeper connection with yourself and how you show up in the world, because we all know that there's a lot going on in the world. So how do you want to show up? How do you want to be? So I'm really grateful that you've shared that with me, and that I'm hoping to see you again in person at another event or another retreat. We're just somewhere here on the coast where we're at. We're both in the west side of California, near the coast. And yes, so hopefully you could all connect with us in person or online. I'll share Asher's Instagram below, and her contact information if you're interested in intuitive somatic healing and all that stuff. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the collective, my dear?
Oh. Mm. Yeah, I think the only thing I would like to share is a reminder to myself and anyone who's listening of just, don't be afraid to be vulnerable. That's been a huge aha thing for me, is just showing up, sharing in my experience and being vulnerable and talking about it and expressing like my needs. What do I need support in? Like, this is the connections I'm looking for. And then it's amazing to see like, oh wow, like that was so easy, because my story was always getting wrapped up like in my head and not being vulnerable, not asking for help, which created more of that disconnect, more of that isolation. So yeah, don't be afraid to express, your anger, your sadness, your grief, your celebrations, your joy, your happiness, whatever it is, and allow those people who love you and care about you to support you and be there for you.
I love that. I think this is the title of the title. That's Don't Be Afraid to Be Vulnerable. I think that's the title of this because that hit home. I like it. There's that sense of vulnerability when you're
Mic drop.
mic drop. I did. I felt that. There's a sense of vulnerability every time you go into a container like that. There's definitely, so don't be afraid to come experience some of your own shadow stuff, but also your bliss. But it is whatever your intention is how you show up to these retreats. So if you're seeking community, if you're seeking dance, if you're seeking flow, if you're seeking things that you've never done before, if you're seeking just to connect and make new friends from all over the world, or you're seeking to go to that location, lean in. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. I love that. Thank you for that message to the collective. I really appreciate it. And I am so grateful for you. Thank you for coming on. And I hope that we get to connect again soon.
Yes, ma'am. I love you guys. Thank you.
Ciao.